Uh, Good evening, friends. Welcome to one and all here. I'm Dr. Prakash, Principal, East Point College of Engineering and Technology, Bangalore. This is our third session on the webinar series, digital series. Today we have most renowned personality and my best friend, Mr. Subramaniam Sivakumar. Subramaniam, just a brief introduction about Shivu, popularly known as Subbu. And it's my great honor and privilege to welcome Subbu for this session. Thanks for taking your time, most valuable time. I know that you are a most busy person today. In spite of all your schedules, you took time for us. Thanks for being with us, Subbu.
So thank you, Dr. Prakash, for the invite. So it's hard to refuse you. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. To start up with, let me introduce Subbu. It's a great honor and privilege to introduce Subbu. A brief introduction about him. Subramaniam Sivakumar, Chairman, CEO, Pratian Technologies, popularly known as Subbu, is a serial entrepreneur and a servant leader with over 2 decades of experience in the IT industry. He has extensive cross-cultural leadership experience, having worked with Fortune 500 companies, large global enterprise and startups in all major geographies globally. He has been a digital business specialist, innovator, architect, mentor, and investor. Subbu specializes in systems approach to innovation, strategy design and execution, ecosystems and business orchestration, breakthrough cost innovation, digital transformation, software architecture and design, and creative learning models. Some of his major clients are Microsoft, Cisco, HP, Oracle, IBM, Siemens, GE, Accenture, Philips, Kerner, Access Healthcare, LLC, and Amadeus. Subbu envisions an interconnected world of global innovation hubs, which allows people from diverse cultures and skill sets to collaborate and solve global and hyper-local problems. He places hope on young talent for breakthrough innovation and aspire to incubate over 1,000 successful startups. An avid traveler, Subbu spends most of his free time with several underprivileged people in the remote villages of India. Harnessing the deepest potential in people excites him the most. An ardent student of Vedanta, Subbu spends time with his spiritual guru in discovering the truth within on the banks of Narmada or on the mountains of Himalayas. Subbu is also the World Research Center CEO or Chief Operating Officer at WRC, that is World Research Center, a deep tech global research and investments ecosystem of the future. It's also, I've been interacting with Subbu for a quite long time, almost 1 decade. I've been interacting. I've seen Subbu as a great serial entrepreneur. He has invested many companies. I still remember one of his company was listed in the Indo-Israel summit, which was listed as one of the best startup also. I want to actually share one. He is also in the government body. He is in the panel of Government of Karnataka Talent Accelerator Program 2020. He's very happy to see you, Subbu, on this panel where very, very big people are there, including the Prashant Prakash, who is the chairman of the Startup Innovation of Government of Karnataka, Sanjay Arundam, all big peoples, and you are on this panel. I think your mission of training around 1,000 people and deploying them onto the for the projects is more specifically for which is making bigger social impact for Government of Karnataka. Wish you all the best for this one also. Thank you, Subbu, once again for taking time to spend with the student community. To just brief you about the people who have resisted for this program is all that we have students who are aspiring to take up engineering. We have the parents who are looking for that, and we have teaching fraternity from my college and from different colleges who are under VTU affiliated. We have very few registrations even from outside Karnataka. So very happy to see a lot of academicians interested to know what is innovation is all about in teaching learning processes. And we have also few of our students and faculty fraternity joining this program. Somewhere around 600 and odd registrations we have as of now. Many people are following on live on Facebook, and many people are also on YouTube. Thank you once again, Subbu, for your time. It's great to have you today now.
Thank you, Dr. Prakash. It's great to be talking to you today.
Thank you. Let us start off with Subbu. I think to put a preface for this session, which is more interactive session, we don't have any monotonous or session like this. I want to start with one statistics. 75% of our engineering graduates are not employable. Very unfortunate is that around 30% of Indian engineering graduates are not even trainable. When we actually go and approach to industry, they feel that many students don't even have fundas clear. There's fundamentals is the big problem. So you have been debating quite a long time at different platforms, telling that if a student possesses strong fundamentals, engineering fundamentals, we can take him to become an entrepreneur, or whatever height he desire to take up in the life, we can go and train him and put into that place. So now you totally have a different perspective towards the word engineering. So what do you feel? What is, in your view, engineering means?
So engineering is always about it has been about using machines, systems, processes, standards, and the discipline of science to solve a problem. And that's how it actually evolved. And from there, it's taken a different model, especially with the digital coming in. Technology has become like the backbone. So everything today is getting transformed. Obviously, engineering is also getting transformed, it's getting digitized. So I would say, as an engineer, he should be a problem solver. An engineer looks at being an application person. An engineer looks at applying his knowledge to typically solve a problem. Whereas a scientist does greater research, he's delving on science. An engineer is always an applier of knowledge. So, and I think it's a beautiful discipline. So imagine you can spend 4 years continuously applying your knowledge and solving problems. If that purpose is actually discovered, it's a beautiful discipline.
Excellent. Next question. How do you see the value of engineering in digital innovation? Should people become engineering graduates to pursue digital innovation? Is it compulsory that I should pursue engineering? Many people see that without engineering, still I can go and do innovation and all these things.
So there are two things. When you say engineering as an education today, unfortunately, engineering sometimes is being used only as a degree, a graduation to pursue. And that is not true. So if you look at it, do you need to have a certificate for you to be an engineer? Of course not. But do you need to know engineering to be an engineer? Of course, yes. You cannot be an engineer without knowing the engineering. So the purpose of an academic institution is to teach the engineering aspects to a person. When a student is not pursuing the engineering aspect, he's only chasing a qualification, then this whole problem that you're asking surfaces. What is the value of engineering? I think it's inevitable. If you have to be a software engineer, see, the name is a software engineer. That means this person should have excellent knowledge of systems, processes, standards, technology to solve a problem. So if you're asking me, do you need to have a certificate, a degree to be writing code or to do digital innovation? Of course not. But you need to have the equivalent knowledge to write code? Of course, yes. And I think you have institutions to offer that equal knowledge. If people can make use of it properly, then it's a double advantage. You also get a meaningful degree qualification, you can pursue a master's. At the same time, you get all the knowledge. So I would say engineering is very important. If you're looking at it only as a degree, then it's not important. If you're looking at this as real engineering, then it's critical.
Absolutely, absolutely correct. I keep on telling this at every platform wherever I go. Very recently, I was also at one of the conference. I was telling about it. It's a very high time that we should move out of degree-based education. 70 years of Indian independence, complete my education model was focused on awarding degrees rather than skills or bringing creativity, innovation, all these things. That's the reason we see that people have degrees but they don't have skill or innovation to make it up. And I always have been debating. Uh, Plenty of Indian companies are there who are in IT field, and very unfortunate to tell that uh, being so much of talent pool resource in India, uh, we are not able to create a company like Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Twitter. What is exactly the problem is all about? Is it that in my teaching learning process or my education system, is it that there is a problem with the talent, or we are not able to nurture the talent to take up to the right and come out and give products which actually impacts to the Indian culture and Indian environment? Yes.
So I think, Dr. Prakash, there are two things. And am I audible? Okay, you can hear me properly?
Yeah, quite. You're good.
Okay. So one is, see, the world is clearly moving from being a knowledge society to it was becoming an information society. If you look at in the 2000s, knowing thing was not very critical because you had Google. You just needed to know where to find the information. So that transformation is happening. Now, similarly, we are moving from a knowledge society to a skill society. If engineers don't focus on the real skill, so to know how to repair a vehicle is knowledge. To be able to repair the vehicle is a skill. So we are drastically going towards skilling. So to know, let's say Java is knowledge. To be able to solve a problem is a skill. So we are getting into skills. And now the world is going to transition from 2025 onwards rapidly from skills into innovations. So today, suddenly, creativity is becoming the most important thing. But clearly, you see skill happening. And now, I would say, thanks to, or maybe not so much fortunate, but thanks to the COVID crisis, people are adopting digital learning more and more. So now it is very accessible. So as people start acquiring skills, then the whole education system is also going to get disrupted. And I think there's an opportunity. Engineering will rediscover its true purpose. They will start becoming very innovative. So this is as far as the skills are needed. Now, answering your question, why are we not producing a Google? Now, if you look at, so I've traveled extensively across at least 40 different cities in US, multiple states, and other global geographies too. There's a culture everywhere. The Midwest culture is very different. The East is different. The Bay Area is very different. Even in US, Iowa is not comparable to the Bay Area. Why Iowa? Washington, D.C. is not comparable to the Bay Area, San Francisco. So even in US, there are parts of US which are not at all close to what happens in the Bay Area. So when you're talking about innovation in US, especially in technology, it's a very, very dense, centralized place, which happens mostly out of the Bay Area. And then there's in MIT, which is in Boston and Harvard. So they are also doing a lot of work. So there is a huge divide. So how did it all start in US? When Hewlett and Packard, HP, now they were really the champions of fostering that culture of innovation. But remember, it was in late 50s and early 60s. So you're talking to a nation which was very rich and which has been innovating for 60 years. India had a GDP of 25% globally in 1700 before the British came. We were at 1.5% when they left. So obviously the priority is not innovation for us. It was survival. And when I started my career, so I come from a middle class family. So what was my only goal? To be able to earn for my family. Entrepreneurship means I would be shocked. So I could not think about having a business. So That's how we grew up. We grew up wanting to work in a corporation and learn. We were all fascinated by technology. But then in the 2000, I started in 1996. In 2000, people did not want to just work in a company. Then the mindset was more about going global, working on site, working with American companies, migrating there. That was more fascinating. Now in 2010, I see a clearly different mindset. People are fascinated by working for product companies and they want to build their own products. But if you look at the last 3 years, a young kid out of college, he is not like me, that I just want to find some job in some company. He's already thinking about startup. So I would say in just 20, 30 years, we are having fantastic startups coming out of India. And I think 2020s will be the real ripening of Indian IT, where we'll come of age. You can see the same thing with the Indian cricket team in the 1970s and Virat Kohli now. The whole body language is different. You go in as a world beater, right? Same thing, all the new kids, they go in as world beaters. I think we are really headed into innovation. If our education system starts giving them skills, which is what we're lacking, then the whole thing is going to be exponential. And I think thanks to all the digital learning, all the across geographies, across cultures, collaboration, access to information, companies coming in, Indians are getting very innovative. And I think 2030s will be a major power, but 2020s you'll see the arrival of many, many, many brilliant entrepreneurs. So this is going to be the decade where you're going to build a foundation for a country in innovation. And we're very optimistic about that. And it's already evident. You look at every single top IT company, the CEO is an Indian. Now I'm told that Amazon CEO is now going to be an Indian. We already got the Microsoft, then the Google is
Correct.
back. Right? It's all happening now. And we are very well poised. We are at the point of inflection.
True. Absolutely true. Uh, in your perception, there are a lot of students and who want to aspire also to become an engineer, who want to take up an engineering course. Many times, many students feel that there is no point in taking engineering course because I don't get any jobs. Because my complete mindset, as you say, middle class mindset that after doing engineer I get into a job. But is that in your perception? How can one become an innovator?
So, innovation by definition means doing something new to solve a problem. You could create a new product or you could make a change to an existing process. The ability to do something new is innovation. So, I always keep telling my team you look at this as applying creativity to solve a problem. It's something similar to new, but I say you applied creativity. You apply creativity to solve a problem. You can apply creativity and never solve any problem. You could write a poem. You could paint something. That's creative. But if you apply creativity to solve a problem, then it's truly innovation. But however, the challenge here is creativity means what? Doing something new. So we define creativity as harnessing the unknown. The minute you are harnessing the known, it is called synthesis, not creativity. So if Dr. Prakash does anything from his past knowledge, it is not called innovation because it's not called creativity because you're harnessing your known. So ability to harness the unknown means you've never tried something like this before. You're now trying to harness that. That's really creativity. So for you to be creative, you should be able to get into the unknown, right? So now we are so scared of our unknown. So the unknown is causing fear. So for innovators, unknown causes excitement, and you can make out. And I'm talking to a young kid. If I'm trying to invest in a startup, if the unknown or if going outside the boundary and we keep pushing them further outside the boundary, if they are so excited and I see the sparkle in their eyes and they are really looking at tackling this, I know this guy can be an innovator. The minute we go into unknown, if it is causing fear, then I know that not yet ready for innovation. So harnessing the unknown is a very critical aspect. If you can do that in education system, give them problems to harness the unknown, it will be phenomenal. So I think that's a secret for innovation.
Excellent. What a great perception you carry, my God. uh, uh, Next question, moving to how will engineering help in research and development? To put it in a perspective, uh, in a US education system, a lot of research actually moves from academia, from university to the industry. Very unfortunate in Indian ecosystem. Very unfortunate there is no much research coming from the universities or from the academic fraternity. Uh, how will engineering really help in more specifically in R&D, research and development?
See, I think I would put it like this. Necessity is the mother of invention. So the minute there's a necessity, you start inventing. Similarly, engineering is all about applying knowledge, applying science to solve a problem. So the more you're focusing on solving problems, the more you're focusing on applying science, then the more knowledge you need to have in the back end. So today, what's happening with the advent of digital technology, everything you know, it can be leveraged very fast. It's very easy to leverage it. So you kind of run out of what you know. And then the world is moving so fast. Today, I could just take a simple component on Azure ML, one single service. I can spend my whole lifetime in learning this. So there's just so much. So what is a major problem for entrepreneurs? Everybody says, I have a great idea. Very few people are doing research. Every great idea somebody already has. So and it's okay for somebody to have the idea. So what we tell is don't worry about competition. Know your competitor and then you build a strategy. Do you want to do it cheaper than your competition or faster or better? We call it as cheaper, faster, better. Now, how do you know if you're cheaper or faster, better? You need to know who your competition is. How would you know your competition if you don't do your research, market research? So it's a very critical thing. Similarly, if you have to apply any science, you need to have a very, very strong research background. And the colleges should encourage quantitative thinking. And this also reflects in the meeting. It will take me about 45 minutes to know the status. All I would know is we have had 4 components built, out of which in 3 components we are on schedule, 1 component we're 20% behind, and we have an 18% schedule overrun. That's all I would need. But this will take me 45 minutes because we are used to qualitative thinking. So if you look at how we talk and think, there is some problem, there is so much to do, I have a little bit more to go. None of them are quantified. So being able to quantify is a very critical thing. When you take a quantitative approach and you go deep and search for data, then you start looking at more and more applications. So I think you're blessed for an engineer who pursues academia. He has at least 8,000 hours, Prakash. In my company, we have to work for 250 hours in a year, right? 8 hours a day is a given. That means we have to work for 2,000 hours. In 4 years, I would be working for 8,000 hours, right? That's minimum, although we do some more work. Now imagine an engineer gets 8,000 hours of time. He is tackling and learning some of the more complex things. He has access to the entire world of knowledge for him. Thankfully, he is in applied phase of science, so it's easier for him to do more and more research on this. So I think systematically we should teach them how to do basic research, then how to get them into applied research, and how to get them into development, research and development. These 3 things are possible. And with engineering, since it is so intertwined with technology, it becomes a lot easier for you to go into development. But if it was a pure mathematician, my development, I cannot do it directly. I have a dependency. I can come up with a data science model. And then I need to have people who can take this and do a proof of concept. Then I need a bunch of developers to convert that into a prototype. And then I need an engineering team, as we call it, to build a solution. But if I were an engineer, I have the option to do things end to end. So it's a fascinating thing, but unfortunately, we are not using it well. I think that's also changing. Next to my office, you have come to my office, right?
Yeah,
Qualcomm, they're doing a lot of patents. I'm told they do up to 1,000 in a year. So, but although they're all filed in other geographies, it's all done by our Indians only. So I think this is also going to shoot up now.
absolutely, absolutely amazing. Uh, but many people, many students who are aspiring to take up engineering, they feel that they're really scared. Is it that we are in the safe hands, or my return on investment of 4 years doing engineering course, which happens to be a minimum around 2 lakhs, 1.5 to 2 lakhs rupees per year, is that I get a return on investment for these people? What do you think? How do you see engineers from India in the future technology world?
If you look at it today, the need for 16 years of education is still felt. I mean, professional education. So it helps you with your processing of visas. It helps you to further do your masters. So today, the education is still very relevant. If you ask me by 2025, how are people going to think? I think it's not going to be very critical. We already see Apple, Google, many companies who are hiring on skills. It's not engineering. They don't care about any education because they have now moved towards skills than education. In my company, I would say I've not seen the CV of anybody till date. Anybody who solves those three problems, we hire them. But for you to say this is going to happen from tomorrow morning is sounding too far fetched. And it's also making an entire body of knowledge redundant. See, the science is pure. If the scientist is not pure, then it's not the problem of science. So the science is very pure. If you look at the subjects which are being taught, I wish I had such a strong background. Right? You're taught computer engineering, you're taught hardware, you're taught about semiconductors also. You're also taught about operating system, database. Now, these are all very, very, very critical things to do. What is missing is we are theoretically very sound. The practical application is missing. So only that layer needs to be added. So, and which is possible with, and education institutions have to innovate. So addressing the fear of a young student, they're kind of right. Is it very important for them to do engineering? Perhaps it is not. But is that an option today so that they can get a 12th standard graduation, go and find a job? No. The world is not yet matured into skills. That will be a little far fetched. But can they take it, be complacent and say, I'll just do my engineering, I'll get a job? Of course not. You have 1 million engineers graduating, only 100,000 get jobs. So it's very important for them to stay competitive. But if they use the platform really well, as I told you, 8,000 hours Prakash, if they use it well and use the facilities well, and then the advantage in being in a campus, like any campus, is you have a strong industry network, a placement connect. So all those things will help them. But no longer just an engineering or 4 years is going to help. They have to move towards skills. So it's a very dicey thing, but we are still not telling you can have all education being made redundant. We are still not ready for that. Perhaps 2025, most certainly by 2030.
Super, super, super. But what do you feel? Can Indian IT engineers match global standards?
Absolutely. I think we are going to be ahead of people in many ways. There's no doubt at all. If you look at, you don't have to take my word, Bill Gates will swear by this. Entire Microsoft, they go with a lot of Indian talent, Indian mind. So it's not about Indian IT engineers. See, if you have lived in US, if I go to a place like Walmart, I stay in a community in Whitefield. It's half the size of my community. It's a huge place. The roads, I used to live in a city where the population was maybe 80,000 people. That's about it. But the main roads, we call them as the freeways, or I used to live on 19. That used to have 4 lanes on each side. There used to be 10 passing cars at any point in time. If there are 3 rows of cars piled up, they used to get frustrated, calling it as traffic. Right? So less population. Everything is massive. The roads are massive. The shops are massive. The restaurants are massive. Even their burgers are massive. Their coffees are massive. You could drink a coffee for perhaps one full day. So they are so used to doing that thinking big, thinking big, thinking big culture. When you grow up from there, then your goals are massive. Hence, when you have goals which are very massive goals, you'll innovate faster. Indians, our goals are not yet massive. We are getting there. We are a conservative society, maybe our sannyasi dharma, where we are always like living in minimalistic way. We have set goals that are not so massive, so the need to innovate is not so high. And once people get that exposure, then we are going to beat anybody who's out there. But one good thing here is what Pratian, what we are trying to do in our company, we are telling responsible digital innovation. We simply don't want to have massive goals and start going to Jupiter and Saturn without going within. You don't want to have goals and create the next digital nuclear bomb or the next equivalent of digital plastic. I think thankfully we are not yet there. Now India can lead the world in being responsible. We can have responsible digital innovation as our mantra. And we can lead that. I think it's good we are a little late, so we can lead the world also. There's always an advantage. And I strongly believe 2030 will be our decade. We're going to really make it big.
Yeah, for the benefit of the listeners, I want to put it one. India is moving in the right direction, even at the education sector also. Uh, in 2014, when new government came in, India became the permanent member of Washington Accord. We were actually a temporary member. It indirectly means that we have signed we have been when we become permanent member, we confirmed ourselves that we are meeting the standards of engineering education globally. Uh, till so many years it was not done, but in 2014 when new government came, I think this was a great initiation. I want to tell that my engineering education services now are matched with the global standards. This is for the benefit of all the listeners. And another big thing what happened is that it is a dynamic AICT All India Council of Technical Education. It is so active today. They came out with a ASAT curriculum framework where even autonomous colleges, private universities, all need to define in this framework. A lot of innovation has been put as a part of this. They added three components. One is fundamentals, another one is skills, another one is a research component. The philosophy of the behind to design this AICT framework was this. That means research component was also been blended in this model. It's a great thinking now what India is moving towards education services. I want to bring to your notice and the notice of the listeners also. Uh, 20% of my complete credits, for example, if there are 200 credits for an engineering graduate to complete engineering, for example, in VT we have around 200 credits to be completed before it takes off. 20% was on MOOC, that is massive open online courses. After COVID-19, AICT chairman Sahasra Buddhe sir announced it, 40% we are moving towards online.
Amazing.
And they have also collaborated with lot of industries and lot of online platforms. So dynamically I think there are a lot of steps been taken by new government of India where we see there is a drastic changes. Probably I feel if we move in this path, as you said, we are going to reach out to the next level, and we see that lot of IT engineers becoming globally competent. Yeah. Moving to the next question. What digital innovation trends should engineering students be aware of?
So there's no doubt Industry 4.0 is going to be the big thing. There is absolutely no doubt that you have to be aware of AI. And when we start talking about AI, we don't see this AI as a separate thing. We see it as an embedded paradigm of doing anything you have to do. So it's like there used to be this procedural programming, right? And then people started embracing object-oriented programming. You don't go and tell, "Oh, I'm doing object-oriented programming." It's a given. It's a paradigm. So it's already happening. Certainly, in a couple of years, you're not going to say, "I'm doing some deep learning. I'm doing some machine learning." It's going to be a given. I would like all these young people to check Azure ML services. You could put any data set, and you have a lot of public data sets. Look at all public data sets from the world. You could take any data set, push it inside the ML services, and it will give you all kinds of visualizations. It will use all the statistical models. It will use all the advanced statistical methods also. It will even tell you what it is trying to use. It could be regression, it could be classification, and if you have a paid service, it could also tell you the time series. So this is now made part of it. So you don't need to really write code to understand how it works. This paradigm is going to be huge. So it's going to be like object-oriented programming. It's just going to be one paradigm that people are looking at. That's a very important thing. And then 5G is going to be a huge, huge thing. So it's not like AI was not there before 2011. It has been there since 1980s, 70s. In fact, I remember I used to watch Gary Kasparov. When he played with IBM's Deep Blue, I think it was 1998 or 97,
Yes.
98. He defeated Deep Blue first time. And second time Deep Blue, he lost to Deep Blue because they had cracked all the moves possible. That's really AI. Now, why did AI become popular now? It's very ironical. It's not because of AI. It's not even because of programming. It is because of a silly thing called 4G technology. So what happened when people were using 2G, there was less data flowing in on the internet, relatively. But in the last 2 years, We have produced more data than ever in the history of the world. That's how much of data we have produced. Why is so much of data being produced? Because the bandwidths have increased with 4G coming in. Now already it's 5G. So when the bandwidth increases, you have a lot of data which is coming into the cloud. With so much of data coming in, then obviously big data started happening. So first, the networking technology improved. Then a lot of data came in. Then that formed the cloud. With cloud came a lot of big data. With so much of big data, human beings are impossible to process that without the machine learning. And hence, AI, I would say version 2 has appeared today. And this is going to be the thing. We have not even started. 5G is going to be even big because it's going to give us every single device on the planet is going to start sending information through IoT. So, what digital innovation trends? AI is obviously going to be very important. Deeper than AI, I think they should all know data science well. That's the heart of anything to do with AI. So, mathematics and stats is going to be very important. And visualizations are completely getting reinvented with the advent of augmented reality and mixed reality. We do a lot of MR for the defense of India. So there, it's a completely different paradigm. Now you see the new Apple's VR glass. It's going to be a complete game changer. So visualization is changing, and then AI is obviously the core, and IoT is going to be a very big thing. 5G. These are minimum things that will influence innovation in the next 10 years. This is something the students have to be aware of. And I want to add one more thing, Prakash, what you told me about Dr. Sahasrabudde's innovation. See, today it's no longer becoming a trainer's model. It's becoming a learner's model because learners have access to the MOOCs. So colleges also have to reinvent. There was a time where the professor had to teach. Today, colleges should reinvent and not make the professor teach. They should make the professor facilitate learning. Because when I teach, I'll keep teaching the same thing year on year, or I could do multiple batches. So instead, you offer a right MOOC and make it a learner's model. With a learner's model, no student will have to have dependence in the professor, right? So you don't really have to worry about if the quality of the faculty is good or bad. Now that's completely out. But if you can make your professor a facilitator, then you're really facilitating the learner's environment. And all that the college has to do is come up with problems to solve. For coming up with problems to solve, they can have industry partnership. They don't need to solve the problem. The industry has to solve the problem. They can just toss a bunch of problems in front of students and give them learning platforms and facilitate. That's going to be very disruptive. I see that as a future. And if you're telling me you're already doing that and our AICT is doing this, that's pretty positive. But we should still have more problem-solving focus. I think that's still not completely done. But it's a good step.
No, that's no. This is, I think, there's a great move now. Another big thing is, in fact, at East Point College of Engineering and Technology, we are tied up with a lot of industry partners. We are tied up with UiPath for RPA. We are tied up with AWS, Amazon Web Services. Complete programs have been run over there. And we are with Salesforce. We are with Cisco. We are with ARM processors. Quite all good companies. Center of excellence has been established. We all giving this as a supplement for the students as additional skills other than the regular core fundamentals which has been prescribed by the PTU. What we see a big change is that today industries also comes forward and tell Prakash, you have around 20 students for me who are empowered with this very specific skill sets, and they have taken my proctored examination, they are certified, I come and directly pick you up. What I want to tell to all the people who are there for the benefit of the public, we at East Point College of Engineering and Technology, we have started one vertical called as Industry Institute Integrated Learning Programs, where in this horizontal we have created a lot of verticals with all what Subbu was specifying, all these skill sets with all the top companies. So it's one advantage. So what moral of the story is all about? Uh, Today it's not about which college you have taken up, whether you under passed from IIT, passed from NITs, or from Institute of Eminence, or from Tier 1 colleges or Tier Code. You have skills. If any student can have great creativity, excellent skills, I think there will be many companies like Subbu who can go and hire them. Yes, Subbu, you agree with me?
Absolutely, Prakash. In fact, this year, what we have started doing is we are adopting people very early in their first semester. We are telling them work with us for 2 years. You can learn all the technology. Then hopefully we want to start getting them as paid interns from year 3 and 4 in a way that they at least get their engineering fee back. If you can achieve that, then their whole education is free. And it's not very expensive. I know they're paying some 2 lakhs or 2.5 lakhs only for the whole 4 years put together. So that's not a very deterring thing if you start positioning them to the right talent. Because as an organization, if somebody can give us, say, 500 or 1,000 hours of time, and I know there's a lot of time in year 3 and year 4, that can be monetized and a significant amount of revenues can be generated back to the student. So we want to do that. So that means now people are very motivated to accelerate the learning and they have to complete their whole learning through all the MOOCs and all the digital learning we do by end of year 2. Year 3, year 4, they should do serious internship. And then after a while, it should go beyond just getting the fees back. They should start looking at top-notch innovation. And that I think is our biggest opportunity. Look at it, you have 1 million engineers, Dr. Prakash, all over India. I'm sure I can get me 1,000 people I need. So we are very excited about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I was looking out on your website today. The great mission statement. What I just read this mission statement. I want to elaborate on this. Just read this mission statement. Pratian Technologies is on the mission of creating digital Bharat innovation ecosystem for future skills, digital innovation and entrepreneurship across the country. Their vision is to make Bharat a leader in responsible digital innovation, RDI, and a preferred destination for high-end future skills. With this mission, how can we help our engineers and students in the journey for digital innovation? And what is this? How do you actually accomplish this mission? What is the way path?
So, Dr. Prakash, there is another view that I will present. You are asking me how can we help you? I actually see how helpful the students are for us. It's other way around. Imagine we did not have this 1 million people, and engineering is a small set. We are a country of at least 600 million youth who are there. Imagine, luckily, we are not living in Yemen or Lebanon or Syria where you don't have access to that kind of population. We have plenty. So I have seen that when we were doing assessments for ourselves and for a lot of our clients also is to come to us and take our help in assessing people. Normally, the 2 to 2.5% of the population we used to assess turned out to be good A plus talent, which means in every 1,000 people, we used to take 25 to 30 people, and they were brilliant, which technically means that you already have 25,000 Sachin Tendulkars in India. If you have 1 million engineers, you just need to discover them. Our challenge is discovery. You might not know how bright your sun is unless you discover what is there within. So we have not given enough importance to know about the person. If you look at it, I had great teachers, no doubt. But did they really know what I was good at? No. Our system does not demand them to know that. The system only demands them to teach skills. It's like I can live with my daughter for 18 years without knowing what she's good at. And the same thing is a problem of the education system. So what we are doing, we are running a simple program called Discovery. We are telling them, look, we are nobody to assess you. You discover what you're good at. So we teach them a little bit of everything. And we say, don't worry, we are not assessing your skills, we are assessing your trainability. We call it as potential or talent. Now, this person, like he could be a singer or a dancer, or he could be a mountaineer. You simply cannot put him in any program. So similarly in IT, he could be a DevOps person. He could be a very creative UX engineer. He could be a brilliant UI designer. He could be a UI framework programmer. He could be a data scientist. He could be a DevOps person, a data ops person. We have so many job roles. So the number one problem is the system of education today does not require the person to determine what he's good at. All careers are mostly by chance. They are not by choice. So AICT should make it mandatory in the first year for people to discover what they're good at. The one big thing that we can do to the country is every single person should know what he's good at. and what he is best at. He need not compare with other people. I'm not talking about being the next Mark Zuckerberg, but I know there's something which is brilliant in me. The minute they discover that, then accelerated learning happens. Because if I have the aptitude for something and I'm very passionate about things, and these are my specific goals. So the minute I discover my aptitude, my passion, and goals, naturally I get into learning mode. So if you do that, then the whole problem gets solved. So how we are identifying the people from innovation? We are telling them, look, we are not going to teach you anything, neither we are assessing on anything, but we will expose you to a variety of things. And I would like to see that sparkle in the person's eyes at some point in time. Supposing the 30 different things we expose, he is not interested in any. Great, IT might not be his cup of tea. He will be a brilliant, perhaps something else, other professional. So if you can do this and get the spark identified early, then you have nothing much to do. Then you're just piggybacking on God's creation. God created talent. Companies like us just piggyback. So that harnessing of the talent discovery is very poor. That's one thing I think we should do really well. If you do that, then everything is taken care.
No, but I saw your model. In fact, you prototyped skill assured model at my college, and we saw that 100% student got placed when we give a real time project for the students. You missed out two things. You told about talent discovery, then it's talent accelerator, but you also see that in your model, in education model, you also emphasized on a student who has great idea of innovation. You can actually see to it that he becomes an entrepreneur, or he can start up with an entrepreneur. Will you elaborate on this?
Yeah, so I didn't want this to be a PR exercise for my company. So I'm just
Hey, no. Just for the benefit of the kids here, nothing like this.
what we've done.
Where the students can actually, it's why did I ask this question is that uh, the students or the teachers should not restrict the framework only for either to get the degree award or get the marks, or only restricting to the projects at the end of the final year. It's also we need to we are fed up with all Indian engineering graduates going behind jobs. We want all the people to create jobs like you. We want serial entrepreneurs like Subbu. So what is that as an engineer? How can he actually take up and become an entrepreneur? That last pyramid, the tip of the pyramid.
So we can possibly help anybody who's interested. So Prakash, after the COVID thing came in, we went completely digital. I had about 1,000 talent whom we discovered from December till March. You'll not believe, from March 23rd till now, we've had 24,000 applications since we went online. We had about 8,000 people who came for the talent discovery. And so what we started doing in the 1 week, where we are technically assessing the talent, we also do a design hackathon. So, and this is beautiful. Someone's coming from Coimbatore, someone's coming from Assam, someone's in Punjab, someone is in Gujarat. They don't even know each other. Those 5 people come together. It's all virtual. And then they come up with an idea. And now we have given them 5 days to come together and take their idea into an idea which can be called as a great innovation opportunity. We are doing that. So now there are 2 things. The person is not yet having an idea which they can pursue. The good guys, we pick them and put them into a talent accelerator. That's the first accelerator where you're nurturing 45 competencies, technical competencies, then behavioral and professional. Somebody has not just technical capabilities, they are also having a good idea, which I think can be of tangible value. We take them into the innovation accelerator, and we are fortunate, we are blessed. Our innovation accelerator is led by Dr. Dave Richards. He is the former co-founder of MIT's Innovation Lab. So he is now leading this along with a gentleman from Berkeley. He has 71 patents. So we have built a good team. All these young people, they get a chance to start talking to them, and they work with them in the innovation accelerator. So by end of the innovation accelerator, we make sure that they have a product with an interested customer, and they got a first dollar earning opportunity. If they pass that, then we take them into the next accelerator, which is called Startup Accelerator, where we are looking at investing anywhere between, say, $15,000, that will be 10 lakhs to $500,000, perhaps 3 crores or so in each startup idea, and take them. So we have a funnel. So if I have a 10,000 people coming to the funnel, I would find 1,000 brilliant talent. then perhaps we'll find 200 good innovators, and then we take 80 good ideas, nurture them, and then we start creating 10 to 20 startups. So this funnel is what we have built, and that's the one we are scaling up. So anybody here who's interested can certainly apply, and it's no secret. We could possibly help any college do this, and there's enough talent in India. And we are trying to do our bit, and we know that for sure we'll create the 1,000 startups we need. And we are certainly taking our mission of making our country the best place for innovation digitally and responsibly. And we will certainly make it. So these are 10-year vision, and we are so excited doing this.
Amazing, amazing. It's good that we all been partnered at our East Point College of Engineering. We did this experiment at East Point College of Engineering. We also be associating with you in near future. We're already the plan and platform is already put for this. I think at last, I think everyone knows about this pandemic. Is this has created opportunities for India? In turn, whether it will create jobs or will lose jobs. There's a lot of questions in the minds of people who want to take up engineering today. But they are really not understanding next when they join now after 4 years they're going to come out 4 years. You see that India could be something different.
Absolutely. 4 years is a very long time. You have a trend called as exponential growth opportunity, or people also call it as a hockey stick model, where you have initially the curve dropping and then it shoots up. So right now, everything is dropping because with COVID, at least 40% of the enterprises in US are in deep trouble. And in India, we would have the same thing. 60 to 70% of MSMEs would be in trouble to even meet their cash flows, because our MSMEs or medium-sized enterprises don't even have cash flow to last beyond 1 month, 2 months. So 3, 4 months will impact them big time. If you look at Dubai, 70% of the businesses are expected to close shop in June. Okay, so this is a serious challenge. So there's a lot of negativity, but this is not a permanent phenomenon. In the hockey stick model, every time you dip very fast, and then you have a chance to grow. It is known as breakthrough innovation or exponential innovation. So, which means we are going to go through a dip. It's already started. It will be very visible. We expect the peak to happen sometime by October mid or so, and we look at the first signs of recovery happening from November or December, and then from January there'll be cautious optimism setting in, and in a year's time from now, we will be on the path to doing things faster. Because see, remember, Dr. Prakash, in US, if I hire a person at entry level from the campus, I have to pay him a salary of at least $72,000, $60,000 at least. So $60,000 in US would be like 45 lakhs annual salary for an Indian. And it does not mean the person whom I'm paying 45 lakhs is necessarily 45 times more brilliant. It is not. Our boys are very brilliant. So I think it's going to be a huge opportunity. In fact, the Western markets have to outsource work to India to rationalize their cost. Their manufacturing will, of course, go up. But for IT software, I think it's going to be a huge opportunity. For electronics, semiconductors, it's a huge opportunity. And also manufacturing. A lot of companies are moving out of China, coming to India. I think next year we will see COVID as a blessing. India would change so rapidly, we will go so fast. We'll say, thanks to COVID, all these things happened. Like, thanks to COVID, Ganga is still today. Thanks to COVID, Himalaya is visible. And I think it's good to do a lockdown for 3 weeks every 2 years. We should make it a policy. I think our nation will start dealing with that. So I think it's painful, no doubt, but 2021 is going to be a great opportunity. 4 years is too long. We will be rocking, we'll be very much on path, for sure. But it's a painful process for sure.
Now, that's what I think. This message is very clear. Uh, uh, Many, even another story, what tells us that many companies who are there at China will also be moving to India, and a lot of manufacturing sectors will also come to India. Already, uh, Modi government has rolled out red carpet for many people, and we see probably lot of good amount of jobs coming out to India also. We all, even as a serial entrepreneur like Subbu, I always want to see students to become a entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur like Subbu. Don't run behind jobs. You start creating the jobs for India. India needs that. So this is what I personally also feel.
And if
This
you
is
add
one
one
personal
thing,
question. Yes, yes, Subbu, please.
see, whenever the market is down, it's a great time to buy and build. So today, all the resources are at a 30% discount. People are not coming and asking for a 40% hike. They're just looking at sustaining their jobs. They're okay in taking a 30% cut in their salaries too. And there's a lot of brilliant people. So I think if there are really young entrepreneurs serious, this is the best time for them to hire people. You will never get high quality resources at a lesser cost than now. And there's a great time for you to build a product because you're not going to build a product tomorrow morning and go to market. The fastest go to markets will be 6 month cycles. Normally it's a 9 month cycle, right? And now when nothing much is happening for these 9 months, imagine somebody seriously creating a great product, taking their idea. And by the time the product is actually out, the market also picks up. It's great timing. Now look at the other way around. Supposing the market was brilliant, it was at its peak, and I'm sitting for 9 months and doing nothing and building a product. That's actually negative. This current scenario is a positive, especially for startup entrepreneurs. If they stay lean and they're really focusing on creating value, this is the best time to create a value. And this next 9 months are priceless. We are doing this, we are learning this. We are building 3 startups now. It's all going to take us 9 months, 12 months. Brilliant. Whatever happens, it doesn't matter because anyway, we don't have a product ready. It's going to take us a year. And by then, the industry also picks up. It's a great opportunity. It's an antithesis, but it's worth pursuing.
Great, fine. Last question. This is something very personal. I always look into you as a role model. You are a role model for many of my students. This is not from me. Even many students who studied, my East Point College students who did their final year projects under you, they all used to tell me on the Facebook, he is a role model for everybody. But I was really wonder how you take up so much of time even for spirituality. You if I see a lot of your tweets and if you're on LinkedIn profile, you take time up for spirituality and even take some for corporate social responsibility underprivileged people. Where is the time you get, Subbu? What is the answer for this?
See, I found a mentor, Dr. Prakash, in 2007. I was running fast in a direction which I thought would be the right place to run, and I got the moment of my U-turn. This was in December 21st, 2007. It was one New Year where I did not go for a party. I went for a spiritual 3 day camp, and that made all the difference. And from there on, a lot of things started becoming clear. And I also found a guru. So my surrender happened in 2014, 15. So that means I stopped using my brains. I started only applying his teaching, and my growth became exponential once I stopped using my brain. So I'm trying my best to do everything with surrender, to drop my identity, not to exhibit too much of pride. So therefore, you don't feel judged. So, and you don't have to have any complexes at all. So it really helps. I think it's very healing. And my guru told me something very nice. He said, don't make spirituality a business, make your business spiritual. So see the larger purpose. So that kind of always played in my mind. And now it's all just one single thing. I see what we are doing as spiritual. I see what we are building for India as a very pure thing, as a very divine thing. So we are fortunate that we discovered our purpose in 2000 very recently, connecting people to their infinite potential. And now it gives me so much of joy. If you can just connect, we're not creating anybody great. It's all God's creation. We're just making them discover what they're good at. So it's a fascinating journey and it's very self-healing actually. So it's not a very pompous contributory mindset. It's more learning. And once you realize the value of this, you obviously give time to that. So I've had things like traveling all the way from Tampa, where I used to live, to Kanchipuram for just attending a 4 hours event and going back because I was asked to come there. So it's always been that I know what is first in life, then what is second. So I've been trying to practice it for the last few years, and it's personally helped me a lot. And I think it's helped other people also. So that's the power of all these ancient teachings.
Absolutely, very, really, I'm telling you, that's the reason I think with the divinity, what you carry, and you lot of ethics and what you practice. So that's the reason you became entrepreneur to serial entrepreneur. So uh, thanks, Subbu, for your time and so much of lot of information and knowledge what you gave to all the people who are watching live on Facebook and YouTube today. We have feel good to take a few questions. We know that I know that you have a call at 5:30. I don't know. I want you to wind up at 5:15. Another 15 minutes. Uh, there is someone can any fine layer independent of a domain can take up the course. What you told.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. We have an online link.
uh,
They can just go there and apply for this. It's open to anybody. There's no restriction. It could be from 2020 pass outs. We are also getting people from 2021 who want to get their career advanced. It could be 2019, 2018. Everybody is free to do this. And you can visit us on Facebook. Skillshare is the name of the page. You will find all the details. So everybody is welcome. There's no criteria at all. It's just discovery. You just find out what you're good at. If you're good at something and it makes sense, then we can either hire you or we can sponsor your learning and innovation.
Fine. I think many of my students, it's a privilege that many of my students are taking this discovery. And we are also putting them all the, once the student discovers what is they are passionate about, what is that hidden talent they have, we are all putting our students to the next level of talent accelerator. And we'll also see that if some students can take up the great idea and to become an entrepreneur. We have next question. How do we see IoT as a India's growth in near future?
IoT is going to be there everywhere. IoT, India is not still very automated country, but smart cities are increasing more now. So as a consumer, we are going to consume more and more of IoT gradually. But the opportunity for India really is in creating and building IoT solutions. And I think we are going to have a lot of people coming in, and that's going to be the way. We have not historically been very good with creating hardware, semiconductor chips, or building those massive, huge server farms. So a real hardcore hardware engineering has not been India's strength. So we have missed out on this a lot. Fortunately for us, with IoT coming in, that divide has diminished phenomenally. IoT is now a line between the hardware and software. It's a little more software driven. I think this revolution we will not miss out. We will play a very significant role. That's for sure.
Thank you. Next question. As a student, if one wants to become entrepreneur in future, where does he she should start?
First is passion. Entrepreneurship cannot be done with the head. That's more being a businessman. An entrepreneur is a problem solver. You have to be very passionate about what you're doing. And any investor is going to ask, check you on that, how passionate you are. And then, of course, the numbers, but your passion is important. I keep telling people only two things. You have to have something called as knowing your cost of failure and your wins in failure. So, example, let's say you take a couple of years off and you're trying to build a product. So, what's your cost of failure? Well, perhaps you would have been employed in some company. You might have earned 5, 6 lakhs, whatever equivalent packages. So, that means you lost close to 10 lakhs of earnings. Plus, you might have incurred some costs of hiring some employees, etc. Let's say you size up your cost. I do not know what is your cost, but I'm just taking an example. Let's say you size up your cost as 20 lakhs. And let's say you are able to afford that cost, 20 lakhs. Then you look at what are your wins and failures. Okay, if your business does not take off and you fail, what all you learn? I learned what not to do. I learned how to not hire people. I learned how to take the customer's feedback more seriously. I learned not to assume that my innovation was very unique. Nobody had this. You might have so many learnings, and this learning might help you a lot in your future. So, as an entrepreneur, it's with passion. As a logical person, if you can compute your cost of failure and your wins or failure, if you can afford your costs and you benefit by your win, then you should close your eyes and take your plunge. This is the shortest formula that I can give.
Oh, thank you. There's some more questions. Uh, we believe every new generation is more brainy and brilliant than us. Being this a fact, where is the gap? In teaching or in learning? If the teacher turns as a facilitator, will fix the mess. I think you should be a professor. Oh, you should be a professor.
Absolutely. Historically, it's always self-driven. An entrepreneur is self-driven. He does not wait to be told to solve a problem. In fact, he cannot sit idle. He or she cannot sit idle without solving a problem. Similarly, leaders, they are self-driven. So same thing, learning is also self-driven. No matter how much you try from outside, even in a teaching model, it is still just a medium. Ultimately, the learner has to learn. Just today, the focus on learning centric models have evolved more because of access to technology. Today, you can go access any university in the world, you have it out there. That means it's in the hands of the learner, no longer the teacher. So, that change is happening very, very fast. So, how do I use that change? That's the decision that you have to make. You have this being empowered, nobody can come in the way, and then you accelerate your learning. So that's the key thing today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Uh, what is the biggest vulnerability of your company?
The biggest bottleneck of my company would be me. All my imperfections, my lack of foresight, or my weaknesses, knowingly some, unknowingly many, might be, hurting my company. The only medicine is self-awareness and constant feedback from people around. Hopefully, they can share my blind spots, and hopefully, I get to know better. It's not about playing by your strengths, also knowing your weakness. Imagine Roberto Carlos, the great footballer. He had the most awesome left foot ever. Imagine he took the right blank and he started playing for Brazil. His team might lose. So, as a leader, it's not just about knowing what you're good at. You should know what you're not good at and make sure that you're not becoming your team's weakness. So, I would say my drawbacks might be hurting my company more than anything else.
Moving to next question, Sridharam. Okay. Now, definitely, we have to use machine learning techniques for big data, sir. And who is your spiritual master?
So,
There are
this is
two parts
beautiful. You're
here.
talking about machine learning and spiritual master. Sri- Yeah. Yeah, machine learning and big data is going to be a paradigm. It already is. For those of you who do not know, every Google search already the machine is learning. Already the world has advanced so much on AI. I would say 40% of the platforms are already built. The journey is still on, so it's an inevitable thing. Big data is now an incidental, it's no longer a technology because you're having so much of data coming in, petabytes. So you will have to process it. That's so if the question is should I learn? Absolutely, please learn. Even if you're not very good at coding, don't worry. You have tools to learn AI. So please be very aware of this. And my spiritual master, thank you for asking the question because everything I've been doing has been because of his teaching. So I have to mention his name. His name is Swami Brahma Yogananda. So he is my spiritual master.
Thank you. Let me move to another question. Ankit Vishwakarma. Can India be benefited in the job segment as due to COVID? Many companies are coming out of China and establishing their industries in other countries. Ankit.
Of course, India is going to be benefited because of this transition. And as much as the movement is expected might not happen, if you're expecting, say, 20,000 companies to move out, we might have 8,000. But the bottom line is 8,000 still moved out. So we are going to encash on that. And I'm also told we have done a lot of COVID analytics. We also see the mortality rate coming down gradually. Our recovery rate is now at 49%. And the strain of the virus in India is weakening gradually. So more people might get the COVID-19, but then asymptomatic, they might not even know it is there. It might just become like a common flu or cold you catch with lesser mortality happening. So, which also means that if we reorganize ourselves faster, we might be able to get over this very soon. The faster we get over of this and the positive is stay in the mind, then we can encash the Chinese migration. If not, then we might miss the bus. I think this time we'll not miss the bus. We have good leadership.
Will not. True, true, true. Absolutely, absolutely true. I think we are going out of time. Next question: if we engage more with harnessing, synthesizing, and a bit of automation in the way the engineering is taught today, discarding the focus on innovation, would it be savior of our MSMEs?
Can you please repeat that question?
Yeah. Dhananjay, will you post the question on the screen, please? If we engage more with harnessing, synthesizing, and a bit of automation the way the engineering is taught today, discarding the focus on innovation, would it be savior for our MSMEs?
Okay. So the question is, can we reuse existing processes? Can we reuse the existing modules? Can we focus on automation, use the current, and help the MSMEs than focusing on innovation? Will that help? The answer is no. You're in a world where innovation is inevitable, and you have to lead the world in innovation. And innovation is not something which is happening in 2020. Mankind has evolved because of an innovative mindset. Otherwise, we would have been happy with being in the Stone Age. So it's an inevitable reality. Just that the craziness is happening more now. With the digital technology coming in, the change is happening so fast that we are not able to grapple with this. That's the only negative aspect here. So life is getting disrupted more. But then for you to be able to get out of this is not realistic. Rather, I like what we were taught or we were told now, Atmanirbhar. That's a better option. That's a better option. So how can you be self-reliant? How can you be self-sufficient? Not isolating yourself, not avoiding progress, not avoiding change. You cannot avoid change because the universal principle is change is constant. It's always happening. You got to go with change, but then you got to create self-dependent systems. Example, a lot of the software we're building for government, we can have our unemployed youth build if we train them right. We don't need to be giving it to somebody else. So that consciousness, I think it's happened. If we harness it, it's going to be very good. But innovation is inevitable. It was always there, so that's something you cannot stop.
Absolutely, absolutely. Next, what do you feel is the biggest strength of student fraternity right now?
Fearlessness, confidence. This has been my experience, very different from what we experienced in 80s and 90s. The young crowd is fearless and they're very confident.
Absolutely. Will it tell one collaboration? I think, is there any more questions? Fine, I think some of is there, which are all redundant questions. I'm not putting on to you. Same questions are repeating about whether jobs are coming or not. Thank you, Subbu. Last few minutes, I'll take it up. Will you elaborate on what is with government of Karnataka? You've been associated. You were in the panel. What is that going on in the minds of the government, and whether the jobs is going to be generated? You were in the mission of taking around 1,000 people, skilling a bit. Will you throw some light on this?
Yeah, so I'm on the governing council of GOK Talent Accelerator. This is a
Government of Karnataka.
government of Karnataka's talent accelerator. This is actually being led by Prashant Prakash, and I see him as a leader who's operating from his heart, not just the head. And he's also the chairman of Karnataka Vision Group. So it's his passion to be able to help people and create jobs. And the deputy chief minister, Sri Ashwat Narayan, is also very supportive of whatever Prashant has been talking to him. And there's a genuine intent of the government to help people, especially during the COVID crisis. It's such a tragedy. You're having so many people passing out of engineering in 2020. They are literally landing into vacuum. So the brainstorming sessions we did was how to enable them rapidly and help them with getting jobs. Maybe not in June, maybe not in July. And anyway, they're not going to be ready with the 4 month learning program by July. So it will take them 4 months, 5 months time at least. But certainly, we should enable more and more people to get into high paying jobs and get into high end jobs. This was a rational. So we have a very large number, ambitious number, which is in excess of 10,000. We are now doing a pilot with 2,000 people. We want to close the jobs now and then start scaling this. The unique thing in this model is the government of Karnataka has come forward to sponsor for all the people in the students. These are fairly expensive programs, and they're all full time, 480 hours, with the best of the people in the mind. It's not like a regular program. You'll be having people from the world's best universities, the world's best companies, including MIT, Berkeley, our own Indian brilliant companies, all coming together and training them. That quality of education should be given at a completely affordable, disruptive price. That was the vision. So the students who get selected will have to only pay perhaps, I cannot tell you the amount because it's still something that DCM has done. It will be a very, very low fee. Everything is taken care. And then they're also required to come, and it's all digital. And then 1 month of learning happens with the mentors. The government is also helping them by giving them hostel facilities and place for labs, all the support which is given. And perhaps there's a way in which the students can pay back the fees. Once they get placed, they get salary and make a small percentage of their earnings going back to the government, so that it becomes a self-reliant model for the government, using which they can actually skill more and more people. So that project has been initiated, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. It's very heartening to know that such people with a good combination of head and heart are helping the students of Karnataka, especially the domicile. So this is something we'll be reaching out to all the colleges soon, and through Prashant Prakash and all of them in the governing council. I would like this to be done in a very structured way, but I can just share this information here, telling that all the colleges should possibly benefit through this.
Absolutely, absolutely. Amazing. I think the model you carry for education, and I still remember even we did something called as RET, rapid deployment. You always been telling that it's not about employability, sir. It's all about deployability.
Yeah.
I still remember quite a good number of students of East Point College of Engineering did the live project over there. It was basically about the deployability. I think I still remember this statement, what you keep on doing from long years. It's not just about employability, it's all about deployability. And all the best for your journey. I think your mission should actually now roll out and see that it reaches to the all the beneficiaries. Uh, Thank you. I think a lot of people have tagged. I think one of the professor uh, appreciated you. Don't make spirituality as a business. Do business spirituality. Yes, tagged you very nicely. Uh, Amazing to hear all these
That is what
things.
my mentor taught me. It was not what I said. My guru told me that. It is his knowledge.
Is knowledge. Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, Subbu, thank you so much. It was nice interacting with you. I had a privilege to speak to you. A lot of gyan gets also whenever we speak to you. Uh, and wherever I spend some time with you and your team, a lot of empowerment happens within us. It's not either related to teaching learning process or it's only with academics. We also you are relate spirituality, teaching learning process, business. It's totally a blended speech. Thank you so much, Subbu. Very kind of you. uh, we'll see a lot of success for you, we pray. And I want to bring to the notice of all the viewers here, and for the people who are aspiring to take up engineering, or the parents who have joined on Facebook or YouTube. We've been associated with Pratian Technologies. They have a product on Skill Assure. Uh, Quite a good number of students have taken on talent discovery. This means where they uh, uh, they get to know about their talent, hidden talent, and once the talent is been known, we will actually accelerate their talent. This process is given by with East Point. We are also collaborating with Subbu to take forward the same model at East Point College of Engineering. Thank you, Subbu, once again for your great time. Amazing responses. Many people are actually putting excellent session and all these things. Thanks for your time, Subbu. Have a nice time. God bless you. Keep safe. Thank you so much once again. All
Thank
the
you, Dr.
best.
Prakash, for this opportunity. I have always been a big fan of what you do, and I thank you for all the opportunities provided. And whatever I learned, I have shared a few things with other people, so hopefully it's useful. So thank you for this opportunity. And I really appreciate
Thank
you
you.
starting on time and ending on time, which is such a great thing. So thank you.
Thank you so much. All the best. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.